Welcome to the show, everybody. Today we're going to be featuring EBT Americans.
No, God!
Now, if you missed it, apparently the government is still shut down, which means that EBT recipients will not receive their benefits come November 1st. And as you can imagine, everybody's taking this extremely well, especially the black population.
Since they want to take food stamps away, I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to rack up any damn Walmart, throw it right in the basket. I'm going right about the move, get my way. I'm not paying for a damn thing. Y'all got me up. I ain't getting a food stamp on EBT.
Y'all better stay out of my way in these stores. I'm walking out with carts and I'm not paying for Trump, if you won't, start looting, it's gonna happen. Before my kids go broke in this jock, I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow.
EBT used to be called food stamps. Food stamps were intended for people who were really facing economic hardship, like widows or veterans or families who were very poor and was going to be for a limited time, to help tide them over until they could secure better income. But if you were a widow, it was a different thing, right? So you used to get these food stamps, and food stamps used to be pretty embarrassing to use because you had to whip out what looked like a coupon book and then cut out these food stamps and pay for it. And everybody was like, ha ha, your parents are poor. And you'd be like, shit, yes they are, but I'll never be poor. I'll make sure that my kids won't feel this shame. I'm gonna work hard so we'll never be on food stamps. Well, that's all over now, because one thing poor people can't handle is feeling bad about being poor. But one thing they can handle is feeling good about taking your money. Let's take a look at some of the EBT Americans we're just going to scroll through. This is called EBT of TikTok. They just compiled all of the people making their TikTok videos crying about not getting food stamps. It's something like 43 million Americans receive SNAP benefits. 43 million Americans. There's 350 million Americans that we know of. That's a lot of people. So here are the people. We're just going to scroll through. We are going to stop in some of these videos. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of these people don't look like they're going hungry. They're crying that they're going to go hungry, but they look like they could miss a few meals. And a lot of them look like fully able-bodied young people who should be able to provide for themselves. The fact that there's any men under the age of 65 who need food stamps, let's call them what it is, food stamps, is pathetic. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you are an able-bodied man, and I don't mean I have trauma because my dad wasn't around. I'm talking about you're not missing any arms or legs. Your brain fully functions. You don't have Down syndrome. And you're on food stamps? Literally, you would be better just like walking off into the sunset and no one ever hearing from you again, where you could find some kind of strength and resolve to be a fully self-sufficient human being. Because this is pathetic. Pathetic. I mean, first of all, you have enough money to save your stash to look like a Pedialyte, okay? So there's no reason for you crying that you can't go hunting. Go hunting, shoot a deer, feed your family, yourself for like 6 months, and develop something called self-respect. We're gonna get into all these shenanigans of the food stamp world, but one thing you guys should take a look at is that majority of the recipients of food stamps are not Americans. Ding, 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 ding. Oh no. The immigrants that come here, they're important for our economy. They help our economy. They boost our economy. Psych. They come here and they deplete all of the resources that you and your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents have replenished with the sweat of their brow, okay? Where do food stamps come from? They come from the labor of you, your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors, who fed into the system, who created this system to catch you should you fall upon economic hardship. It wasn't from some Afghan and his 5 kids with the wife that he beats every day and doesn't let go to work. It wasn't for some Somali in Tim Walz's district who's out there filming a white woman because she said the N-word to him. It's not for an Iraqi who also beats his wife, okay? It's not for a Dominican. By the way, Dominicans, what's going on? You guys are supposed to be conservatives. You're supposed to be the conservatives of the Latin American world, and you're over here getting food stamps, work. I've seen you guys. You guys are built for slave labor, so you can handle paid labor.
Damn!
If we go through and look at all this is depressing and this is sad. Armenians, what are you doing, Armenians? You guys are actually kind of white adjacent. You're fully capable of working. All of these people are exploiting Israel, Jews, food stamps. You gotta be kidding me, man. You guys literally own the banks. And then Indians over here, of course, they would if they could figure out how to exploit more, they totally would. Here are the white Americans that we hear so much about. I know the blacks can't understand per capita. 8.6% of white households. By the way, the whites are the people who are working to supply the labor that creates the fund for you and your fat family to go get Doritos on food stamps.
No signal in the club.
You can see that the fact of the matter is illegals and non-citizens are taking the lion's share of welfare, okay? Native-born Americans that are using welfare, out of the whole welfare pie, 39% is going to native-born people, which is probably predominantly black. Naturalized citizens. So you come to this country, you say you're going to work, and you get a green card, and then you still take welfare. Why should we be accepting people who are actually a weight on the system? I'll tell you why. Because they want to destroy you. And then non-citizens, 59% getting welfare. Wow. And then you can see it says any welfare. How many of them are getting cash? Why are we giving people cash? I'm sorry. I'm done with these nonstop handouts that are complete. This isn't going to last forever. This is the reality. It's not going to last forever. And these people here are too dumb to realize that you don't get food stamps on trees. Cardi B, you got so much money? You got so much money? Why don't you give them some? And just so you guys can't accuse me of racism, there's a lot of stupidity going around when it comes to the food stamps. And it's coming from all sides. And usually people look like this. They're pretty fat and disgusting. But let's take a look at this fatty. Explain to us that food stamps are just fake money, so it doesn't hurt anybody, so you shouldn't have a problem with it.
Why do you care so much about people getting food benefits? You do know they put it back into the economy, right? It's basically like free money. It's like imaginary money because the money was never printed in the first place. So they're taking like digital air money and putting it on a card. And that upsets you. Digital air money upsets you. Hypothetical. Take away your rights. They take away things from you.
Yeah, things like my hard-earned money so they can provide food for shamus like you who have trauma because they've slept with too many men. I don't know where you're getting these men looking at you, but these people don't understand how the economy works. This is the problem with a lot of liberals. They are loud and they are obnoxious and they are fully confident in their absolute idiocy and idiotic analysis. Shamu, let me explain to you how the economy is supposed to work. money doesn't just exist. It's not supposed to, okay? We're living under a fiat currency system that is totally false and meant to destroy America. And speaking of which, okay, we actually have our first sponsor, because unlike the EBT Americans, I have to work for my food. And I actually went out and sought this guy out because I love their books. Antelope Hill Publishing. Use promo code LEO for a discount. I don't know how much. Here's why I love Antelope Hill Publishing. Because they publish books like this so that we can learn from history. So if you go to their website, you can see that they've got plenty of books. Kevin McDonald's book, which is fantastic. I just met Kevin McDonald 2 weekends ago. He's awesome. Awesome little Irish man. We owe Kevin McDonald a debt of gratitude, which we should probably never be able to repay because of the slings and arrows he was willing to take in order to tell the truth. So all kinds of banned books. And if you're tired of your kids reading gay propaganda that wants to make them trans, well, they've got things for your kids too, right? Like this book called The Great Napoleon for Children, where you can learn about white heroes and not from the point of view of them being evil white men who just colonized everything. AntelopeHillPublishing.com, promo code Leo, get a discount. Fatty over here doesn't realize that the way the economy is supposed to work is you produce something, a good or a service that creates a value. Now you have something of value for which you can create a corresponding currency. For example, I plant an orange tree. The orange tree produces 100 oranges. Those oranges are valued, let's just make it simple, at $1 an orange. I have produced $100 of value. Now we can print $100 of money because there is a corresponding value in the actual economy. Here's what we're doing. Printing $100, printing another $100. There is no value being created anywhere. Where did this $100 get value from? Oh, the $100 that were already in existence that were created when you grew 100 oranges. So now we actually had $100 of value in the system and we printed $200. How much are your $100 worth? Half. That's correct. It's worth 50% less because those new $100 that got put into the economy had to take their value from already existing money. So I just made your oranges worth 50 cents instead of $1 because Fatty over here wants you to buy her Oreo cookies and she doesn't want to do any labor in exchange for the Oreo cookies. Now, this is a very simple lesson about how the economy is going to work, but everybody's stupid, so I'm trying to keep it easy here. Now, what I do like is that a lot of these people are showing their real face. It's not like all of these young, able-bodied people feel any kind of gratitude towards the taxpayer who slaves away so 1/3 of their income can be taken to feed these no good, lazy POS. They don't feel gratitude, they feel entitlement. In fact, they feel resentment that you don't give them everything. They don't understand that people aren't going to keep working when they don't get any reward for their value, and pretty soon we're all going to starve. Well, not Fatty. Fatty can survive for a good 2 years before she's gonna feel anything. But let's take a look at some of these videos because these are fun.
As y'all know, they done cut off the food stamps and the EBT. So that's 100% finna affect everybody that's still in the hood, or at least on Section 8. You feel me? We've been on it our whole entire life. You feel what I'm saying? Without it, you feel me? More people definitely would have been getting robbed. I ain't even gonna lie. With that being said, I know that the crime rate about to...
See that? See that? It's called threatening you. If you don't want to give me your money, we're going to steal from you. And we're just supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be happy to live with these people, by the way. Happy that they're not robbing us. Well, because the government's robbing us in their place.
Increase by like 5,000%. Let's not add the fact that they trying to tax 74% on anybody making under 30K. So that's going to automatically...
Wait, you see, you gotta be careful with black economics, because black economics never makes any sense. Okay, crime gonna be up 5,000. They're trying to tax anybody who makes under 30K 74%. No, you got it wrong. Okay, you have to make actually over $250,000 for them to even get to 50% of your tax bracket. Which, by the way, if somehow you were successful and started making a couple $1 million a year, I don't know, by rapping, which is probably your only avenue, and then they wanted 50 to 60% of your taxes, you would be singing a different tune. But because you don't want to do anything that's actually going to contribute value, and rap doesn't contribute value at all, it actually takes away value, but that's a whole other story. You want to cry about how much more you're entitled to, and also subtly threaten people and say, well, if we don't get our money, we're going to rob you. This is the part where I'm going to do my duty as an American citizen to warn these people who might be considering such actions that America is the most armed country on earth. There are more guns than there are citizens, and you can bet that most of the people that have guns aren't on EBT. And the reason they have guns is because of people like you. And they know that the system will come to a collapse. And soon people like you will be thinking that you can just barge into people's houses and take their food and rob them with no repercussions. But what you fail to take into account is that when said system collapses, all the protections that are in place, which are actually protecting you from citizens who are tired of you, are gonna be gone too. And you're not gonna make it very far. Let's go to another one. I've had enough of this guy. Now let's go to Fatty, another Fatty.
And next week, when millions of people are going to have to resort to possibly stealing in order to feed themselves and their families, and the government complains, because they will complain about the crime rate going up, even though they're the ones who did it. Make sure you point your anger at the system and the people at the top, because they're the ones who took the food away from families and poor people and starving children. The poor people just want to eat. They just want to survive like the rest of us. They just want...
Oh, trust me, we know you just want to eat. See, this is what they don't get. Like, the government is working for you, dummy. If the government wasn't in place, you would not have EBT, because normal citizens are not going to give up 30 to 40% of their income to feed your fat ass. So you're right, the government does take away our rights. They take away our rights to give fat, disabled, mentally ill people like you things that they would never be able to get on their own, and therefore they would be taken out of the gene pool, and we wouldn't have to deal with all your fat, sloppy descendants coming around and saying, you owe us and give us and give me. Here's another genius.
If you work at a grocery store and you know that the food stamps is not working in November and you see people stealing and you snitch, you deserve to... Good day, bye. If you work at a grocery...
It seems like AOC's congressional run hasn't been going well. Rough times in the Bronx. See? There we go. If you uphold the law and call the police, you deserve to die. I can't call you fat, but you're still stupid. And what you don't understand is that if everybody steals all the food all the time, farmers don't get paid, right? We just got to take the train back. So you steal all the food, the grocery stores go, hey, I can't pay my rent, I can't pay my employees, so this grocery store is closing. Great. Now you don't have a grocery store in your neighborhood. Okay, this is what happens. This is where black people start complaining about all these businesses that leave. They leave because you keep stealing things from them, and they're tired of it, and they don't want to work there anymore. Okay, but now you go to another grocery store, you steal there, that grocery store shuts down. Let's say you do enough stealing such that the businesses that are supplying these foods start to take a hit. Eventually, those businesses go, it's just not worth it for us to operate anymore, so we're closed. Now, the farmers who were producing the food for the businesses that were supplying it to the grocery stores are also not getting paid. So they're working for free, not for very long. Nobody works for free for very long. You guys won't even work for money. So imagine that if you're not even willing to work for money, how many people are not willing to work for free? Okay? No one. No one's willing to work for free. That's not how it works. And also, stealing the fruits of someone's labor is a sin. According to the Bible, it says it right there. You shall not steal a worker's wages. You are in exact enmity with God when you do that. So all you lazy scumbags who feel totally entitled to food stamps, which comes from the labor of someone else, are stealing from hard-working people. So for all your communism, goobly gog, you guys are worse than any system that employs people and takes a profit from their labor, okay? Because you don't even give these people anything. All right, here's another queen of the EBT.
Y'all was clutching y'all purses
now
before.
see, she makes it, we robbing white people on 11/1 because they know they're not going to rob black people because the majority of black people aren't the ones supplying them with the food stamps. There we go. Although some black people, we're calling them out. We're going to get to that in a second.
This gonna be the time that you need to clutch him. Y'all was doing all that shit at the wrong time. But this is y'all time to show out. Show out then. I ain't gonna be mad at you.
All right, LaQuisha, you're going to be mad at them when they're brandishing their 2A because that's what the 2A's for. You're too stupid to think about consequences, so it's not your fault, dummy. Here's another one.
I just wanted to come real fast just to make this video, just to make something very, very clear to the white man.
First of all, see, another one, the white man. See, I thought this was about the government. I thought this was about the government who's giving you things. See, you seem to know where your free food and housing and everything is coming from. The problem is you don't want to work, okay? Also, did she not put her wig on? That's why she's got the hood on. I mean, see, this is the thing. There is no differentiation many times between the males and the females of this race. And so then they get upset when you say things like Leslie Jones looks like a man, but that's why you do all this stuff like get a wig and put a bunch of makeup on and wear eyelashes, because you're trying to emulate the distinction of the female sex in the white race from the male sex.
Black Americans do not care about your government shutdown, and Black Americans do not care about you taking away our EBT and our government assistance, because Black Americans never depended on the American government to take care of us and feed us, because we never could. We were never able to depend on the government, in spite of what you may say and what you may try to force us to believe. So you can sit back and you can mock, you can laugh, and you can think that you're about to starve us to death. But I'm here to let you know that we are going to eat regardless, even if we have to hunt you down and roast and eat you, the delectable and
Amazing. Amazing. Black people defaulting to cannibalism the minute the system threatens to go down. So if you didn't depend on the government to feed you, then why would the government shutting down threaten to starve you? Can't think that. I mean, I just can't with these people. I mean, seriously, do you like, this is what happens, right? When white people have been nice for so long that these people really think they're just going to take your food, kill you, eat you, and you're not going to do anything back. They don't understand that the government has been working for them all of this time. The government protects Black criminals from the repercussions of their actions. The government supplies Black people with food and with housing, once again protecting them from the repercussions of their actions, i.e. not working. fair enough, there are black people who are actually working, who understand that their tax dollars are being taken to go ahead and supply people like the people we just saw. Now, the percentage of black people whose tax dollars are going to support EBT Americans is not as high as the percentage of white tax dollars that go on to support EBT Americans. Nevertheless, one tax dollar taken from you is too much. It's highway robbery. And so black people who actually work feel the same way as white people who work.
Hey, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it one time, and one time a lot of motherfuckers thinking it, but they ain't going to say it. Listen here, I don't give a about y'all losing y'all food stamp. I'm 25 with no kids. I get up at 6 o'clock to go to work, and at the end of the work, I go coach kids. It's just not hard for you out here with kids. It's hard for us, too. And I know, do I want my hard-earned tax money going towards you and your kid just because you couldn't get off your back and go get a job or tell a motherfucker to wear a car? So no, I do not give a because you're losing your benefits. Get off your ass, go get a job, do what the you gotta do to raise your kid because you had them. I'm not paying for your kids anymore. I don't give a about that. Them kids starve. If you don't care enough to get off your ass and go feed them, why the does my tax money have to do it? The using and abusing of the system is over because us who can't get SNAP benefits or free medical, we still got to make a way. So if they've been saying us for the longest, it's y'all. Tired of getting a free pass and I'm over here busting my ass without no help. You can do the same. Sorry you made poor life choices.
You tell him, Tyrone. Somehow it's less offensive when it comes out of a black guy's mouth. We need to find a black person who says the same talking points that white people say to add a legitimacy to it because we're not going to win this alone, folks. Here's another one. Let's go watch this guy.
42 million people. Bruh. Because you're telling me of the 42 million people, only like 30% of that 42 million are actually Americans? And I mean 30% of the 42 million are actually Americans who were born here, who are disabled, who are veterans, who are actually people who literally and actually need this assistance. Because if I'm looking...
Let me just say this. He sounds like he's from Trinidad and Tobago, which is hilarious because he's calling out other foreigners. The 30% that of the net Americans who are born here, even they don't all need the food stamps. Okay? So there's a huge abuse here. And this says, 51% are Muslim who won't allow their wives to work and have multiple wives or multiple children, getting 4K to 5K each. I don't know. I mean, this has to be verified, you know. There's a lot of stuff. You can get kind of, we got to be careful, right? Because, I'm not down with all these Muslims coming here and doing Sharia law. Like, if you come here and you're Muslim, you get one wife. That's it. And if you come here, you don't get assistance. The idea is you're supposed to be helping the economy. If you're not helping the economy, stay where you are and ruin the economy you came from. Okay? But we do got to be careful not to jump on things that we can't verify. So I don't know that. The other stuff, those were charts. So if they made that up, that was a pretty good job making that up. So here's a group outside of Walmart in Texas that were not allowed to go in because they thought that, they don't have any funds on their EBT, so they're going to rack up all these charges, and then when their funds don't work, they're just going to walk out. And I don't know why they would think that about this group of law-abiding citizens, that they would steal. I don't know. Maybe it's because all the videos where you said you're going to steal. Maybe it's all the videos of you stealing even when you had EBT. This is the crazy part. We have all these videos of black people stealing incessantly, and now we find out they have EBT, they have EBT cash, they have free housing. Why are you stealing? I thought it was socioeconomic factors, but here we are taking care of your socioeconomic factors, and you still can't stop stealing. I mean, is it genetic? Is that what it is? That would be racist. Here's some of the stuff that they're using their SNAP EBT. So if in case you're feeling bad for them, you're like, oh, these people, they're starving, and, why don't you just let them buy some rice and beans? Oh, you poor sweet child. They can get SNAP and EBT to DoorDash from 7-Eleven. Okay, you know, 7-Eleven, the peak of nutrition. They can go ahead and buy all kinds of junk food on EBT. Why is this acceptable? EBT, you know what? You shouldn't even get EBT. You should get coupons for a certain amount of rice, beans, vegetables, maybe fruits because we're being nice, some bone broth, maybe some meat, maybe some government cheese. Throw some eggs in there. Okay, throw some government eggs in there, and you get a certain number of coupons, like rations, according to your family size, that says, here you go, let's not let your kids starve, okay? You want Oreos? Go to job. You want Coca-Cola? Get a job. You want whatever the heck it is that you're buying, hot Cheetos? Get a job. Because not only do you use our money to buy crap like this, but then you get diabetes, you get gangrene. I don't know what people get from eating too much, okay? And then you go and you have free medical care. Free medical care, also paid for by our taxes. So we're getting on every possible angle. Frankly, I don't like it. This is what, and yes, I love this guy. This guy's very funny, David Santa Clara. Go watch these videos of these they all have very well manicured, I mean, if you can call this a well manicured, hands, their weaves, their piercings, going on Carnival Cruise. Why does that matter? Because if you don't know, this nail set probably costs her somewhere near $200. Something that elaborate, at least $200. And then they got to get a fill, usually every 2 weeks. 2 weeks is really pushing it. The fills are usually another $50, but more if you're doing some elaborate design like this, because they got to take it off, redo the whole thing again. So they're spending upwards of let's say $200 to be on the small side, to $600 just getting their nails done. Why? God only knows why. I can't imagine that even black men like this, okay? Unless this is some kind of mating ritual where you got to show a bunch of colors like they do in the jungle. I don't understand. The weaves are expensive. Piercings cost you money. The getting the medication for the STDs from the piercings cost you money. So maybe you should start prioritizing all that food that you say is so important, even though you're pretty fat. But let's take it from another black expert. People seem to listen to black people because then you can't accuse them of being racist when they get upset about the same things that white people get upset about.
Food stamp. Now, the food stamp is for... You know how many people I've seen sell food stamps to get their hair done, nails done, their toes done, buy an outfit to go to the club, drugs? A lot. If I've seen it, other people seen it. You know what? That's why people don't get fucks. I've seen women get a new man. The man got the food stamp. Now, the food stamp is for her and her kids. The man has the food stamp card and he in the grocery store buying shit that he wants. People see that shit. You know what? They don't give two fucks. You know, some kids go to school and get breakfast and lunch, no dinner, because mama done sold the food stamps for shit that she wanted. Dumb people don't give two fucks. And people are saying, well, what about my kids? Well, yeah, what about your kids when you had the food stamps, you out there selling them? What did you think about your children then? The up shit that people do, people see that. So now people are like, I don't care. Life is about to start life for a lot of people. But don't get mad when people don't give two fucks. Because we see so many people out there abusing that shit that they be like, I don't give a shit. You know, what about my kids? What about your kids when you was out there doing that shit with them food stamps? What about your kids then?
I like her. I'm gonna give her a good name, you know, like Tanya. Okay, I don't know. She is honest. She's from New York. She's got to be from New York because I don't give two. That's a New York thing. But that makes sense. No wonder where they're getting all that money to get their nails done. Also, very common phenomenon I've seen. Very, very common phenomenon. Have a big black woman who is feeding a black man, able-bodied black man who can work, doesn't want to work through her labor. So she'll do this apparently by giving him his food stamp, giving him her food stamp card that's supposed to be for her and her kids so he can buy his food. Now, once again, why able-bodied men have no shame to not work and take from someone, take from a woman with kids is pathetic. But the woman is also even more pathetic because if you're a woman, really you're supposed to be paying with something else. So if you're also paying with money, I mean, you're just stupid. Really stupid. He's right though. I've seen this. They do sell their food stamps. They do give it away, and then here's the thing. They go out here and cry. You don't care about my kids. You don't care about your kids. If you cared about your kids, you would prioritize your economic spending instead of making it the government's problem, which is really other people's problem that your kids aren't taken care of. And this is why working Americans should be pissed off, because you're taking food out of your child's mouth to give to people who don't even want to feed their own children, want to use that money for stupid things, and then on top of that get additional funding for their kids so that they're breeding exponentially while our populations are going down from our labor. So I guess that feels good, you know? I guess that feels good so that we don't get called racist. Okay? Here's another example. They have no shame, these people. They have absolutely no shame.
Don't show the numbers.
If it works,
Hell.
put it on TikTok.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
There we go. Using EBT cash at Burlington. Supposed to be for food, getting clothes. What kind of clothes? I don't know why it has become that it's everybody else's job to maintain these people who don't want to work. You know? And here's another one, right? This guy uses EBT, comes and drives away in a 2025 Mustang. Okay? Let's see how much a 2025 Mustang costs. Okay? Oh, new. $78,000. Brand new. That's not the kind of car, but if he did have it, new, $64,000. So somebody who's on food stamps needs to drive a $64,000 car. I drive a $16,000 car because I had to pay for it. I had to pay for it with my own money, so I went and I found the most economical option for a safe and reliable car that's still stick shift so that I could drive, not have a bunch of debt, pay it off before the interest kicked in. You know why? Because I don't have Big Daddy government buying me $2,000 to $3,000 of food and cash that apparently I can use for clothing, and I don't have free housing, so I have to think about how I'm going to manage the 65 to 70% of my income that's left over after I'm done paying for all these ass losers. I'm tired of it, and everybody should be tired of it, because we really need to return to the law of the jungle. The law of the jungle. All you food stamp kings and queens, why don't you go watch a few nature documentaries? Is there a big coalition of lions who pull their extra hunted meat and give it to the lions who don't want to hunt? No. If there's a lion that doesn't want to hunt and he doesn't want to work to get his food, you know, sometimes lions steal food from other predators, but that's still work, right? That's right. There's no existing system in the wild to provide for those who don't want to or cannot get their food. Nature's cruel. That's right. If a lion breaks their leg and can't hunt, they starve to death. The other lions don't go bring them food and go, no, we don't want you to die because you're part of our tribe. They go, oh, well, we got to survive. Okay? So nobody owes you anything. You've grown up in a soft system. And you know, sometimes I almost wish for the collapse because I would like to see these people who will never be able to provide for themselves Just be faced with the brutal harshness of reality that if you do not labor for your own food, you aren't going to get any. And then you can try and steal other people's food, but when the harshness of the system is there, you have to deal with violence, real violence, not the protection of a government that can come in and say, oh, you killed this person because of racism, even though they were breaking in your house and stealing all of your stuff and trying to kids. No, that doesn't exist. I don't know what my point is there. Tim Walz is an idiot. He said every dollar that we give out in food stamps, there he goes, every dollar invested in SNAP generates $1.80 in economic activity. I don't know how exactly he came up with that, right? Again, just remember my story about the oranges and the money. If you're not producing anything and you're just printing money, this money is getting value from the money already in existence, which was created by your labor. So now the money that you have in the bank and your labor both go down in value. That's how you understand inflation. That's all. Everybody remember to go to my website, leonardaisfunny.com. Sign up for my newsletter. I'm on tour. You can see all my tour dates there. I'm going to be doing uncensored videos about uncensored content on my website. So if you want to be a part of that, sign up on my mailing list. And don't forget to check out AntelopeHillPublishing.com. Use promo code Leo.